It's been 5 years since I lost my dad. Even now, I find myself hoping he will somehow come back. But as the days turn into years and the clock keeps ticking, the truth grows heavier in my heart. I have heard people say dreams come true, but in this case, I know now it's never going to happen. My brother and I just moved into a new apartment in the suburbs. At first, it felt strange: empty walls, the quiet of unfamiliar streets. But soon, our hard work started to show. It was exactly what we had dreamed of, even if we weren't quite where we wanted to be yet. Little did we know, this was just a step closer to the day that would change everything. If only I could turn back time, but you can't dictate what life does to you. There were four of us once: my mom, dad, my brother, and me. But now it's just the two of us. My kid brother would have been 25 years old today. Our mom, she didn't make it long after my dad disappeared. A year of waiting, praying, and hoping broke our heart. The doctors called it hypertension, but we both knew it was grief. My dad's disappearance was so sudden, it left us hollow. I still remember that morning, the air felt heavy, as if the universe knew what we didn't. Something terrible was about to happen. We weren't rich, but my dad was a hard worker, always finding ways to provide for us. That morning, he left and never came back. We searched, filed reports, pleaded for help, but it was as though he vanished into thin air. Not even his body was found. During those days, we realized the harsh truth. Our extended family only cared about the good times, not the struggle. My brother and I were left to fend for ourselves. Those early years were like squeezing through the eye of a needle. There was no help in sight. My brother stayed in school, dreaming of becoming an aeronautic engineer. I, on the other hand, gave up on my dream of becoming a chartered accountant. I dropped out of school, found work at a diner, and did everything I could to keep us afloat. Over time, I managed to save enough for us to move to this new place. A fresh start, or so I thought. There's a family in our neighborhood, a mother and her 5 daughters. I never saw their father, but their house was always lively. Different cars would pull up outside every day, and my brother couldn't take his eyes off them. One day, he decided to take his chances. He went for the fourth daughter, the most beautiful of them all. She was in her early 20s, with a beauty that could stop time. Her energy was magnetic, her complexion glowing like the setting sun. I couldn't blame my brother for falling heads over heels. But in hindsight, I wish I'd warned him. I wish I'd seen the storm on the horizon. She often came around, whether I was home or not. Her countenance and the energy she brought made me conclude that this girl was homely and could build a good future with my brother. I had always prayed not to see another tragedy. Over the years, I had witnessed enough pain. The way our parents left us remains a fresh wound, piercing me daily. They became so passionately in love that you could hardly see them apart. At times, one might think she was family. But after some time, I noticed the bond between them was loosening. She no longer came around like before. I asked my brother about it and he assured me that everything was fine. One day, I came home earlier than usual and heard a heated argument coming from my brother's room. I paused for a moment to listen. A lot was being said and it shook me. I decided to address the issue later when the situation had calmed down. Later that day, I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling, trying to process everything I had heard. I never thought my brother would be capable of making such decisions. He was always thoughtful and responsible. Perhaps our harsh experiences had slowly taken its toll on him. These thoughts weighed heavily on me, swelling in my mind until exhaustion took over, and I drifted into a restless sleep. The next morning, I left for work, deciding to talk to him, or maybe even both of them when I returned. But fate had other plans. I was asked to cover for a colleague, so I called my brother to let him know that I wouldn't be back that night. His voice was calm, but something about it felt distant. I wished him good night and ended the call. The following day, I got a call from the embassy. His visa was ready. I rushed home after work to share the news with him. When I told him, his face lit up with joy. You could see it in his glowing expression. His dreams was finally coming true. I let him savor the moment, but later that evening, I pulled him aside for a talk. I asked him about what I overheard the other day. At first, he was shocked that I knew anything. But eventually, he admitted to everything. He promised me the issues were resolved and they were getting along fine. I advised him to stay focused on his future, and he nodded, assuring me he'd do better. But deep down, I sensed something was still wrong, something lurking beneath the surface. Over the next week, she started visiting again. They seemed to be getting along, and for a while, I allowed myself to believe things were improving. One day, I called her aside, offered her a few gifts, and assured her that I understood her struggles. I told her everything would be fine and that she could always reach out to me. She seemed grateful, her eyes glistening with tears. Then came the Friday night that changed everything. While I was at work, I received a call from an unknown number. A woman's trembling voice on the other end begged me to hurry home. She introduced herself as my brother's girlfriend's sister. Her voice was filled with so much terror that I could feel it through the phone. My heart sank. When I arrived, a small crowd had gathered in front of my apartment. A police van was parked nearby and the air was thick with grief. I froze as dread washed over me. Slowly, I pushed my way through the crowd and stepped inside. The sight before me was too much to bear. My brother and his girlfriend lay lifeless on the floor, their bodies cold and bloodied. Scattered travel documents were stained with blood. The scene drained the life out of me and I collapsed. When I woke up in the hospital, I desperately hoped it had all been a nightmare, but it wasn't. That gruesome image was my reality. I pieced together what had happened. Their arguments had been about a secret they kept. She had gotten pregnant, and he had chosen to terminate the pregnancy without professional care. It damaged her womb, and while she was recovering, she discovered he had cheated on her with another woman. Betrayed and resentful, she felt robbed of her future. When she learned of his plans to travel, she couldn't bear it. That night, in her despair, she confronted him one last time. And in a fit of rage, she decided that if she couldn't live with what happened, neither would he. A year later, I am still haunted by that night. The memories cling to me like shadows, refusing to let go. I lost my brother, my peace, and everything I once held dear.